2, and 3, but I'll get to each game individually in this video like I did my experiences. I just decided to do a fucking Wednesday, okay? Alright, let me share this stream real quick. Alright, so my experience with the Donkey Kong Land trilogy, I'm gonna be honest. Alright, I played all 3 of them. And I can't help. Yeah. I can't help but like feel this type of way about them. Strangely enough. And I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about each of them, like their stories, how they impacted me, and you know, kind of like after like this is like a stream that's gonna take place after the Bleach My Experience, and I know I uploaded that short, which also had a weird part of the timeline. And that's okay. But anyways, I wanted to be in the stream a little bit. Alright. So these games, alright, so I'm gonna give you a little background, you know, on Donkey Kong Land 1, 2, and 3. To give you guys straight up cool info. These games are in-betweens. Now, what I mean by in-betweens are these games are yes, they aren't a part of the Donkey Kong Country series specifically, but they're like a mini sub games like within the Donkey Kong Country series, because they take place in the timeline and stuff. At least the first one like tries its best to take place straight after DK. I'm not gonna lie, the timeline for this is really weird, because Donkey Kong Land 1 takes place, and I mean this, it takes place straight after the events of Donkey Kong Country 1, like straight after them. It's not a year's gone by, like, no, it's straight up after, which is a little weird, but that's like part of the story and shit. Oh, Lord Tracon, what's good, bro? How you guys doing? Holy shit. I decided to make this stream a little bit earlier in the morning because I was just kind of like, you know what, fuck it. Let's just make it early. Let's just get it done. Because my experience with these games are just alright. But, before I get into it, I just want to say this. If you have no way of experiencing Donkey Kong Country, like, I literally mean no experience experiencing this shit. Like, if you have no experience, going into this shit, yeah, sorry, I'm also on my Switch too. So if you have no experience with Donkey Kong Country and you just pick up Donkey Kong Land, they have a lot of issues, and I'm gonna get into it right now, but let's talk about the story, okay? So the story of Donkey Kong Land 1, alright? Story. Donkey Kong, Diddy, and Cranky Kong are reflecting their past adventure, aka Donkey Kong Country 1. And Cranky Kong scolds them, implying that their game only did good because of Super Nintendo's graphics and sound, and pretty much had them go on a brand new adventure, which is basically Donkey Kong Country 1 all over again. But, you know, the story this time around is a little different. Like, Cranky Kong's the one who sets all this shit up, sets all the events up, and Donkey Kong and Diddy, what is it? Yeah, the events. Like, basically, Cranky is like, your game only did good because of your graphics and sound. And Donkey Kong and Diddy were like, no, we did our game, Donkey Kong Country 1, did good because of our gameplay. And Cranky's like, okay, bitch. Then why don't you have a brand new adventure? I'm not kidding. Why don't you have a brand new adventure on a lesser hardware? And I thought this was kind of genius that they kind of just decided to do that. They kind of just added like, hey, why is Donkey Kong Country going to be on Game Boy? You know, instead of calling it Donkey Country, why call it Donkey Kong Land? And yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was really cool how that's the story. Literally, that is literally the story. Is them going on this venture, proving that they like the game because of its gameplay, not because of the graphics and just sound. Even though the music from Donkey Kong Country is an important staple to the series, and it literally became so iconic that the music is like better than the game it actually stars in and shit. Like, it is crazy. I just update to my channel. Yeah, I see that you changed your name and everything. Alright. So the gameplay of Donkey Kong Land is pretty much the same as Donkey Kong Country with less buttons to work with. So what I mean by that is the gameplay is just ordinary Donkey Kong Country. Okay, like, to be honest, it is Donkey Kong Country. Alright, if you want me to be honest, the gameplay really is just Donkey Kong Country all over again. And that's the point. Donkey Kong Land is not supposed... Well, it is... It tried to be new, but it's just... Think about it as, like, for the most part anyway, or at least for this game in the whole series, it tried to be different from Donkey Kong Country. Not in terms of gameplay, but in terms of level design and level layouts. But you're going to get that vibe pretty quick that, okay, this feels very similar to Donkey Kong Country 1, you know, and all that other sort of stuff. But in a way, it kind of is. But anyways, number 2, the game, the color of this game, which is greenish color with greenish blackish color, at times is pretty bad because the enemies blending with the environments. Okay, so Donkey Kong Land 1, I'm going to show you guys what Donkey Kong Land 1 gameplay looks like. Okay, I'm going to give y'all, like a look at its gameplay without any color. Alright. This is what Donkey Kong Land looks like without any color. Now it's worse on the actual hardware. Alright, but this is what I experienced the whole time. When I was playing Donkey Kong Land, this is what I was experiencing. But instead of it being black and white, the game itself was actually like black, like this, but like the screen was green instead of white. Which a lot of people say play this in color because it's so much more better to look at in some way. And oh god. Another issue with this game is they have this is your health points, like not health points in term, and it's so weird what they did with this fucking shit. Like, they don't even put Donkey Kong little face icon there with lives, like 5 lives. They literally say just the hearts are implying how many, like, lives you have. It's so weird. And they don't show Diddy Kong as your partner or anything. It's so off-putting. And I'm gonna give you, like, a little whiff of that OST. And by the way, I think YouTube is back to, whoops, that is Donkey Kong Land 2. My apologies. I think YouTube's back to dropping my views because my short I uploaded the other day, a few days ago, has actually been dropping views almost rapidly. So I think we're going back. So meaning I might upload slower again, like slower. We're gonna dial it back to like probably once a week or something. Well, it's gonna be the usual, but you know. Just wanted to let you guys know that if you guys see like any of my views fluctuate for the next, you know, for the past blah, you know. But anyways, It's okay, Alex. Yeah. It is. I had fun while my videos, you know, didn't get viewed. Because I'm going to be honest, when my videos were not getting view fucked, I was having so much fun. Like, I was able to get off. And then it's the whole thing. But anyways. Oh god, okay, sorry. So 3, sure the levels from Donkey Kong Land, for some of it is reused, but they do a good job of balancing out new and old. For example, levels that are in the sky and construction sites are completely new and original places from this game. I love your videos, Alex. Hey man, I'm grateful that you love my videos, man. I really am, cause you know, I'm not gonna say I'm underrated, because at a time, like, I'm not saying every nigga in the world knew me, but I'm just saying, like, I don't like when people put me on a pedestal compared to other people. I'm just like you guys, alright? I'm just a normal dude. Not saying you're doing that right now, but it's like, I remember people used to do that to me, and it was just weird. Like, why would you do that? When I'm just like you, another human. But I understand, it's like, you kind of put them on a pedestal because they're popular, so you kind of treat them different, but it's like, I don't know. Sorry. They actually had DK Island Swing, which this is the version 8-bit. But, so what I mean by, like, they added the sky levels and construction sites. So, in the game, the construction site levels and sky levels, so sky, in Donkey Kong Land, we don't have this. This is what I'm talking about, Renee, by the way. So, I remember struggling on this so bad. This shit. Look at some of this shit. This is boring ass gameplay right here. So these are the sky level type joints where you're jumping on clouds, platforms, all this stuff. Also, hi Chris, hi guys. Damn, I didn't think you guys were gonna break the stream. Hey Chris, maybe we could invite you in one of Alex's streams next time if you want. Oh, I mentioned that to him. He said he's definitely down to join. Depending on when I do it. Yeah, that's why I'm like, this shit doesn't look fun. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be fun. I'm gonna be fun, really. I'm gonna be honest. The sky levels to me, they're a good addition. Like the early ones are good additions, but like to me, and here is like the construction. Also, you also are an airship, which I appreciate the construction levels a lot. Because this is not like from a Donkey Kong Land or Donkey Kong Country series. This is actually like a new place. Same with the sky level y'all just saw. And it's not just one level. It's actually like, yeah, and look, they actually have like construction level going into a sky level. Or going into a sky part area of said level. And I remember like the sky level is kind of notorious for having shit like shit level. I'm not gonna lie, like shit, like actual shit. And I remember after I beat this game, which, by the way, the difference between Donkey Kong Land and Country is the levels themselves, okay, are like the level names of the shits may be the exact same, and some things may flow the exact same as before, but the difference is the layout of the levels and what's in them, and this construction in sky, like I mentioned before. Those are the actual differences of the game of Donkey Kong Land 1 and Donkey Kong Country 1, okay? I'm comparing Donkey Kong Country 1 to Donkey Kong Land 1 because it'd be kind of unfair. And I'm going to be judging these games based off their original version on the SNES, so just going to say that now. Alright. Which, I did mention the Sky Rant. Number 4, the Sky Levels Ranch. I know I mentioned that it's a new level in DK, and I'm glad that they made levels that are in the sky, but man, these levels are easily the worst part of the game due to their difficulty spike and literally no guidance throughout the stage whatsoever. It's complete bullshit. Like the early sky levels, it's not that bad. You know you need to go to point A to point B, but the later ones, that's where it really gets shit. Number 5, the bosses in this game are pretty forgettable and kind of looking back on the final fight with K. Rool, it's just a copy and paste of Donkey Kong Country 1. The boss fight really is just copy and paste from Donkey Kong Country 1, which you guys know how I feel about things being just copy and pasted. I don't like that too much, to be honest. I feel like whenever you copy something, I feel like when you copy someone or copy something, I feel like you should copy it, but add your own flavor to it. Like, that's why when I was looking at the next 2 games we're going to talk about in this video, Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3, I felt like Donkey Kong Land 1 was like the better out of the 3 of them because it at least tried to be somewhat different. And I'm going to mention this and why that shit makes me so angry, that this one tried to be different while the other 2 just are not just straight up copies, but get into it. Number 6, the soundtrack. The music in this game is actually pretty good. The music, for the most part, is like 8-bit versions of some of DKC 1's music. Like, more 8-bit. Like, more 8-bit-like version of it. You know, and I actually like it. I don't know if you guys will like it as much. I just gave you like a little piece of that when we were listening to it a bit. When you feel about copy-paste in your point of view, it depends. If it's copying an entire game, it is lazy. Yeah, it is lazy, which we'll get into that here in a minute. Final thoughts on Donkey Kong Land. I know, very short experience, but I didn't want to talk about all the levels in the game since if they're literally going to be named the exact same as the ones in the console that I already kind of did for Donkey Kong Country 1 already, then I'm not even going to waste my time and re-talk about the levels again for Donkey Kong Land's trilogy. No, I'm not doing that. But anyways, final thoughts on Donkey Kong Land 1. Sure, Donkey Kong Land 1 has its problems, like the sky levels being a pain in the ass to sit through, and some of the enemies blending in way too much with the environment when you have these certain colors on and shit. For a Game Boy game, this is pretty swell time. If you really like Donkey Kong Country and you're itching to play more of, like, Donkey Kong Country, but, like, there's no games left for you to play, I will give Donkey Kong Land 1 a go. Like, I'm gonna be straight up. I gave Donkey Kong Land series a go because I wanted to play more Donkey Kong Country, but, you know, this technically isn't more Donkey Kong Country. It's kind of like a rehash version of Donkey Kong Country. It's weird. It's weird, okay? They call it Donkey Kong Land, but in reality, it's just Donkey Kong Country Game Boy, okay? Game Boy Color versions of it, but they made slight differences, and it's just not that different overall. But to be honest, I suggest you guys play it in black and white and shit. I actually do recommend this one. I know it's kind of crazy that after what I just said about enemies blending in with the environment and all this other garbage, and you're telling me that you would recommend me this shit. Yes, I would recommend it. Simply because it actually tried to be different compared to the next 2 games I'm going to talk about. I'm going to be honest. I vowed for Donkey Kong Land 1. Sure, it has a lot of issues, a lot of minor issues that might bug you. But if you didn't play Donkey Kong Country, you're going to go into this loving this game. I'm going to be straight up. Like, this series, absolutely loving it. If you've never played Donkey Kong Country before, and this is your first experience to those games, you will love these games. You will have almost no problems with them. But it's the fact that I did play the original series, Donkey Kong Country, on the SNES, and then play these. My problems start coming in like almost immediately. You know, it's like, I see you. And plus, I've beaten this game like some time ago. But anyways, Donkey Kong. Anyways, my experience. Donkey Kong Land 2, and you can already tell the main title screen is literally just a version of what it was like on the SNES, and you guys can literally go to my Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 video to see what I mean. Like, this is literally just that. But now, my experience with Donkey Kong Land 2. And also, yes, I do know, Some Call Me Johnny has made a video, dedicated to it, okay? He's made a video. We have been doing the same fucking video stuff for a fat minute, okay? And I get that, alright? Leave me alone. Alright, I felt like it's just timing, okay? Some Call Me Johnny just did this shit timing-wise. Anyways, Donkey Kong Land 2 Game Boy. So the story is pretty much this, and this is what's gonna piss me off. This is what started pissing me off. And I played the whole game of this one too, but I noticed, like, after being finished with it and then trying to play Donkey Kong Land 3, like, it bothered me a lot, okay? The story is pretty much the same as Donkey Kong Country 2, which is pretty much Diddy Kong and his girlfriend Dixie having to save Donkey Kong because his ass was kidnapped by King K. Rool. I'm going to talk about the improvements, what I don't like, obviously, and we're just going to get this out of the way. This is going to be one of my shorter My Experience episodes because this is also kind of a test for, like, my YouTube shit as well. This is also kind of a test. Because after what I saw with my Champions Road episode or video, this is like a test in some way. But also, thank you guys for coming as well. But anyways, the enemies do not blend into the environment like DKC 1. So, meaning you don't have to deal with that in this game. Enemies do not blend in with each other. Okay? They legit don't, which is actually wonderful because that means I can run through the game without worrying about an enemy being within the rocks, you know, or that's too similar to what the ground looks like that I can't see them. I'm not dying due to unusual shit, which was a major fix for Donkey Kong Land 1 because if you remember, Donkey Kong Land 1 had that big ass issue. Okay, that's back. Okay, cool. Okay, but it's a serious issue. It was a serious issue when we were talking about Donkey Kong Land 1. Number 2, the levels were fine, nothing Omega bullshit like the sky levels from Donkey Kong Land 1, but felt too samey, and I'm gonna get into it. Number 3, the soundtrack pretty much is an 8-bit version of Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy Kong's Quest soundtrack, which is awesome. I dig that. But it's like, I don't know, man. You're... Okay. But I am going to give it this, though. No problem, man. It's been a fat minute since I've been in the stream, man. It really has been a fat minute, but it's also... Okay. Like, I'm thankful for all the improvements Donkey Kong Land 2 made to Donkey Kong Country 1. Or not Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong Land 1. See what I mean? I'm also getting mixed, and this is the one thing I hate about Donkey Kong Land, the series, and Donkey Kong Country, is I always get the two mixed up. Like, I don't call Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong Land, but it's just, I call Donkey Kong Land Donkey Kong Country all the fucking time, because of how similar these fucking games play, and it's like, how they don't differentiate from it's like fuck, man. I'm sorry. Sorry. I will give them this though. I will give them this though. Stickerbush Symphony is still really good in this game. I remember making it to the level, and you guys know how I am on Stickerbush Symphony. If you saw my Donkey Kong Country 2, my experience episode when I was jamming the fuck out to Stickerbush Symphony and my feelings towards it, and to let you guys know, yes, I do love this version, okay? Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Land 2's version of Stickerbush Symphony is good, okay? It's a good track. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, it's easily my favorite track in the game. Okay, look, Stickerbush Symphony, what are you going to expect? It's like a more 8-bit, 8-bit version of the shit. What happened to your Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel? I don't play it anymore. I'm actually gonna make it my experience episode dedicated to CTR later in the future, talking about like my feelings towards it and why I don't play it anymore, and why I haven't been playing like any Crash other than like I have been playing a lot of Crash, which we'll get to in the next few weeks and shit. Hopefully I can get to Luigi's Mansion in October, since it's Halloween and the game came out on Halloween. Anyways, oh god, but anyways, my final thoughts on Donkey Kong Land 2. Donkey Kong Land 2 for the Game Boy is just an alright game to me. And y'all are probably wondering why I gave Donkey Kong Country 2 such high praise, and now saying Donkey Kong Land 2 is alright, even though it's pretty much a replica of Donkey Kong Country 2. And that's exactly why I say this game is alright, because it just takes what makes Donkey Kong Country 2 so good and just repeats it. At least Donkey Kong Land 1 in some way, shape, or form gave us brand new levels, like the construction site levels and sky levels, to like, okay, this isn't just a hard, like a straight up copy of the game with different level layouts. This is actually, they actually tried to give us a little bit of difference to make it feel like it's a land, like, a little bit of a different experience. Sure, I mean, it already is a different experience because you're experiencing on like a handheld instead of console, but I don't appreciate that. I don't respect that. Like, I really do not respect that shit. Like, at least Donkey Kong Land 1 gave me new level areas that weren't in Donkey Kong Country 1, or at least tried to be different from DKC. Meanwhile, DK Land 2 just mimics DKC 2, and it's pretty much Game Boy version of Donkey Kong Country 2. And that's why I'm like, no, man, don't get me wrong, Stickerbush Symphony is good. It's good, any fucking version of it is really good to me. But you can't just replicate that genius, port it, and be like, let's get the same results as before. It doesn't work like that. Alright, at least in my opinion, you can't just call this shit Donkey Kong Land, like a different game entirely, call this Donkey Kong Land 2, and just copy it like that. You can't do that. And by the way, that was my fucking foot slipping on the chair if you heard that fucking sound. You just can't do that. To me, you can't do that. If you're gonna copy the same experience, call it Donkey Kong Land 2 game, like just call it Donkey Kong Country, not Land. I said it again. Donkey Kong Country 2. Okay, Game Boy, just Game Boy Color or Game Boy version. Which, funny thing is, they actually do have Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy too, which is fucking hilarious. And they do have versions of Donkey Kong Country series on the Game Boy Advance. But my point still stands. If you're gonna just fucking straight up call it Donkey Kong, if you're gonna call it Donkey Kong Land 2, you might as well just call it Donkey Kong Country 2 Game Boy, because that's literally what this game is. And I remember finishing it feeling this exact way about it. Like, this wasn't me, like, and you guys know how I am with my emotions when it comes to a game. Like, if this is how I felt, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and be like, actually, my feelings were like this, but I still, like, say it's a 10 out of 10 game. No. It's an alright experience at best. If you play Donkey Kong Country 2, and then you go to this version, you're going to see what I'm talking about, okay? I mean, who knows? You might like it just as much, or maybe even more than the original. I don't fucking know how, but hey, I'm just saying, it's all about, it's you at that point, okay? But that's my experience with Donkey Kong Land 2. It's just a copy of Donkey Kong Country 2, and in my opinion, it doesn't do enough to innovate or change it up to make it less of an experience of Donkey Kong Country. Like, just a wannabe Donkey Kong Country 2! I'm not 100% experienced with Donkey Kong, but which game came first? Donkey Kong Country 2 or Donkey Kong Land 2? Okay, the Donkey Kong Country series came out first. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3, but like in between, it was Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong Land 1, Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong Land 2, Donkey Kong Country 3, and then Donkey Kong Land 3. That's how it went. So, like, literally in between Donkey Kong Country series, the Donkey Kong Land games came out. You're welcome, by the way. Like, I'm just all over this shit. Sorry, it's just that this game just pisses me off. Like, every single time I just think about this shit, it just pisses me off. Also, I got you, Renee, on that theory. Just fuck off. Like, just fuck off with that, please. Don't even try with me, Donkey Kong Land 2. Like, don't even try. Don't even try. Just don't. Now, I know there's other YouTubers out there that are probably giving this game, like, some slack. And, you know, that's their experience, okay? But my experience was pretty fucking rough, okay, going into these 3 games. To be straight up honest with you. And this is the last game we're talking about, and then I'm actually going to put on a good Donkey Kong Country. Oh, God. Anyways, I probably should have mentioned these games within the Donkey Kong Country 2 episode, but then people would have been confused, and it would have been a whole thing. So I decided to make it its whole different thing. But anyways, my experience with Donkey Kong Land 3 for the Game Boy. Nintendo. Rare bitch house. Okay. Yep. Donkey Kong Land 3 for the Game Boy. Alright, look at the gameplay. Yeah, this isn't just Donkey Kong Country 3. I don't know. Like, what isn't? Like, seriously, This is a fake-ass Donkey Kong Country 3 in this damn bitch. And all y'all niggas know that shit right now. Sorry. I can't. Sorry, I just think about this shit, and I'm like, seriously, just go compare this to Donkey Kong Country 3. Just swear to God. Sure, okay. Alright, let's get this experience out of the way. And I only have 1 page for this game. Because guess what? I didn't even give this game the light of day. I'm not even kidding. This game, I didn't even fucking finish. Okay, because I low-key did not finish this game. And you're probably wondering, wait, why are you talking that shit on Donkey Kong Land 3 if you didn't finish it? I couldn't fucking play it, man. Like, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I really could not play this shit. Because there was multiple reasons why I could not play Donkey Kong Land 3 after my feelings towards Donkey Kong Land 2. And you know what? maybe they helped. They reminded me, you know, of Donkey Kong Country, but I feel like I would remember Donkey Kong Country for the rest of my fucking life. Especially the goddamn music. I'm sorry, but the music in this bitch. And by the way, I'm not gonna lie, Donkey Kong Land 3 got good music. It's literally just 8-bit version of Donkey Kong Country 3, which next week I am gonna be talking about Donkey Kong Country 3. So you guys are gonna get this experience pretty much. And I don't even care about the story. The story is pretty much just Donkey Kong Diddy get kidnapped, and it's up to Diddy and Dixie Kong to go fucking find him. Okay? That's what it's up to. Like, they left, they haven't came back, and it's up to Dixie Kong and Kitty Kong. Which Kitty Kong is the other monkey that you can play in this game. Just literally 8-bit version. I'm telling you. This is Donkey Kong Land. I'm actually going to go to Donkey Kong Country 3 because I want to let you guys hear Stilt Village from Donkey Kong Country 3. Like, I'm actually going to be like, hey, guess what, guys? You guys get to hear Stilt Village from DK. You know, I don't usually mix music with Donkey Kong, you know, country games, but here we fucking are, Donkey Kong Land shit. Here we are. So let me just give you a taste. This is Stilt Village from the original. Story as bad? No, story's not bad. I just don't give a shit about it this time around because it wasn't like my first experience with it. Slash, it's just the same as Donkey Kong Country 3, so therefore it's like, oh, I already know this shit already. This is still Village from the original. A little bit of a difference, obviously less 8-bit. You know, and I'm not going to be like, oh, less 8-bit, therefore it's better. It's like, I mean, you're comparing a Game Boy Color game to a console game as more power by default. I'll just get a Donkey Kong Country 2, I'm telling you. Okay. But I'm literally just thinking about it now. I think of Donkey Kong Country 2 and Donkey Kong Country 1 and 3, and I look back at these games and I'm just like, I'm kind of sad this is the way they are. Like, literally, this is the way they are. This is what I'm ending off of on the Donkey Kong Land series. And trust me, guys, I wanted to like this shit just as much as Donkey Kong Country. But they just feel like ports. And to be honest, the fact that they are ports and the fact that they were able to fit Donkey Kong Country 1, essentially Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 on the Game Boy, the regular Game Boy, not the Game Boy Advance, but Game Boy in general is pretty impressive. Like, what they were able to do, I'm not going to lie about that. Like, what they were able to do with the Donkey Kong Land series, that's one of the best praise I can give it, other than the music, to be honest, is that the fact that they were able to port these games, like these big console games that everyone thought it was impossible to port over to something smaller, and they did just that with all 3 of them. And you know what? I respect Rare for that. They were able to actually do that. But yeah, they were able to actually put that down. That's a feat in itself, to be honest. Like, take some of the best Trilogy ever made and try to port them down to a weaker hardware. Nowadays, it's not that bad, but back then, back when these games came out, like, obviously in between, like back in the 90s, you know, it was hard. So I'm really going to give it to them, okay? And I'm trying to, like, make this at least an hour, so it's kind of like, well, 40 minutes, 40, 50-ish minutes. I did tell y'all it's probably going to be one of the shorter episodes of the My Experience Shake, since literally most of the time, because most of the time my episodes are long as shit. I have like 30 pages, 20 pages of shit. But it's like this, I didn't want to spend too much time talking about ported versions of Donkey Kong Country. You catch my drift, calling itself Donkey Kong Land. But again, like I said, I'm going to give it credit where credit's due. The fact that they put this on Game Boy is impressive, okay? I'm not going to sit here and diss it. I'm going to sit here and diss it. because it's not Donkey Kong Country. And some people might be coming to this video like probably crying to me like, bro, you're just bitching that this is not like it's the like you really are bitching because it's not the graphics and sound. Bitch, if I gave a fuck about graphics and sound, I wouldn't even give Donkey Kong Land series the light of day. I wouldn't even have fucking played the first game. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even play Super Mario Bros. 1 if I really cared about graphics and sound. Okay? I love my 8-bit games, okay? I don't just hate them because of that. I hate them because of their legit problems they had throughout the whole trilogy and how they just kind of felt too samey later down the line. Which again, Donkey Kong Land 1 did a great job of doing that. At least tried to innovate and try to be different enough for me, which it succeeded. Meanwhile, Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3, it went from alright to more like polarizing and just my alright / samey experience with Donkey Kong Land Trilogy. That's literally how I'm gonna say it. Like I can't express it any better than that. The Sonic game got cool DLC, which I'll be doing my experience on that as well. But I really gotta catch up. Like, this bonus episode right here about the land games, no cap, it's like, I should have benched on Donkey Kong Country 3 like 2-3 weeks ago, but I had so many things on my mind and all that other sort of stuff. I might talk about the new Sonic game. Yeah, I know, Sonic Frontiers, I know. Which is coming out next month, and I know. But I'm currently playing this Metroid Dread right now. Currently, right now, as I'm live streaming this, I am playing Metroid Dread for the Nintendo Switch. So, I'm playing that right now, and I'll probably take a break from gaming from Switch for a while after that to go ahead and do Sonic Frontiers. I'd like to see where this with this Sonic Frontiers. I would like to see it too. I definitely won't be uploading the same week as everyone else when they talk about the game because they finished the game at hyper speed for some reason. I'm gonna take my time with it, and obviously as the road goes along. But anyways, my Donkey Kong Land 3, my honest opinion. You know I love the Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country series. And Donkey Kong Land 1 was cool, and Donkey Kong Land 2 was pretty and Donkey Kong Land 3, any better than the previous 2 games in the series? It was pretty much a little better in some ways, but I was pretty much at the point of not even giving Donkey Kong Land 3 a whole playthrough, because if Donkey Kong Land 2 taught me anything, it's pretty much the same game. Just makes you feel like shit for thinking it's gonna be something different. And to be fair, I stopped playing because the gameplay for me at the time felt repetitive, and I was suffering from small burnout and wanted away from Donkey Kong Land series as a whole because of it. And that's another thing is, to be straight up honest with you, I actually did get burnout from the Donkey Kong Country series because I remember I remember playing the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy. And then I wanted more so bad, and I didn't have a Switch at the time. So, I wanted to play more Donkey Kong Country, so I decided to play Donkey Kong Land games, which I heard Donkey Kong Country gameplay, and I immediately gravitated towards it. And you know what? When playing Donkey Kong Land 1 and 2, you know, I didn't mind it. Well, I knew where that was going after Donkey Kong Land 2, but like, I love Donkey Kong Land like it was a new entry in Donkey Kong Country, you know, and not trying to sugarcoat it and be like, you know, but it's just like, it's just honestly how I feel. It's like, I just wish Donkey Kong Land actually ended up like being its own thing. Like, other than the gameplay, that's it. The levels, the music, everything else is different. I definitely would have called this a different little sub-series. A different mini sub-series within the Donkey Kong Country shit. I'm gonna straight up be honest. Like, if they gave this game completely new levels and different music entirely, I would not be sitting here calling them hard copies of Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3. Especially 2 and 3. I definitely would have kept my mouth shut and been like, yo, these are great little experiences if you want to experience Donkey Country, but with a new coat of paint. / with different levels. And sure, the level layout may be different. I don't give a shit. That still doesn't make it different enough for me. Especially in Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3's case, where it's literally just feeling like the exact same. Donkey Kong Land, the only reason why Donkey Kong Land 1 slides as much as it does is, like I mentioned, the construction site levels / areas and the sky area. That's literally the only reason why Donkey Kong Land 1 isn't just sitting with Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3 for me. It's a little bit higher than that. It's a little better than those two games, and how it handles the shit. Here's something on topic I know. Sonic Boom is trash, but one of the positive things was the Knuckles approving meme. Oh my god. I don't know if which I actually am talking about Sonic coming up as well. Sonic is getting new My Experience videos. If you're wondering what I'm going to be playing next, I have a lot in here that I'm going to be playing next. Like, I have a lot of stuff in here that is like Crash Bandicoot, Sonic, Mario and stuff. I mean, it's not taking a backseat, but I still got some Mario in here. I got a blend. I got a good mix of this shit going. But I'm gonna delete my notes for the Donkey Kong Land shits. There you go. And now we're back to square one. That's no, back with Donkey Kong Country 3 next week. To be honest, if you haven't never played, yes, of course I do know. Star-Lord is voicing Mario, aka Chris Pratt. If you've never played Donkey Kong Country and you don't own a SNES, for some reason you can't find a fucking SNES emulator to play the actual good versions of each of these games, Donkey Country 1, 2, and 3, the fuck is that, man? Little bug, get on out of here. Crawling on my desk and shit when I'm trying to fucking make a video. Okay, if you legit have never played Donkey Kong Country and you only own a Game Boy and you don't like playing things emulated, give these games a shot. They're obviously, at least they're not like bad games, okay? Like, they're not absolute shit, okay? They're not like Sonic Boom, which if you guys remember Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, that game's actually shit. Okay, but these games are just alright at best, okay? And obviously you guys know why I say they're alright. It's because I played the versions on console, and coming back to play these versions, finding out nothing's really that different about them, kind of just set my whole fucking opinion, you know? Pretty much in a nutshell. If you want to make this experience 3 seconds, but yeah, man, Donkey Kong... Yeah, but they're not shit games. They're actually decent games. At least they do Donkey Kong justice. They give you the Donkey Kong Country experience. I mean, that's another thing I can give it. At least it gives you somewhat of what the Donkey Kong Country experience is like and shit, but just on a smaller handheld. And it's funny. It's like, this is another thing I actually have a question about. Why have the Donkey Kong Land series that are coming out in between the Donkey Kong Country series if on the Game Boy Advance you literally have Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong Country 2, and Donkey Kong Country 3 all remade for the Game Boy Advance anyway? Like, why? Not even just ports of the original versions on the Game Boy Advance. Literally straight up newer versions with the music is different, color differences, all that sort of shit. Like, why waste your time with the Donkey Kong Land series? Like, why waste developers' time of creating Donkey Kong Land 1, 2, and 3 if Donkey Kong Country was just gonna be... Like, that's just so weird to me. Like, why have these games exist if Donkey Kong Country, like the actual Donkey Kong Country games in their fullest, in their entirely, on the Game Boy Advance? Makes no sense. for real, I like how they at least try to give you the same feel as Donkey Kong Country, which they do, and I'm not gonna lie, they really do. They do give you like the feeling of Donkey Kong Country. But that's its upside, but that's also its downside for me. Like, they want you to feel exactly like Donkey Kong Country. Like, with its gameplay and stuff, and with its little stories and all that other sort of stuff. That's a good, but also a bad thing. All I ask is if you mix it up, like Donkey Kong Land 1 did. If you can do that if they did that with Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3, I would have said, yo, this is literally, this is legit a series. They added differences, like completely different levels, like completely levels. No samey levels from Donkey Kong Country 2, 3, 1-ish, okay? None of that. Completely brand new levels with brand new fucking stories. With Donkey Kong Land 1 actually had a good story going for it. You know, like, hey, you know, your game only did good because the graphics and sound, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It actually had something going there. I actually thought that was kind of funny. And, you know, they kind of made, hey, we're going to give you a rehash Donkey Kong Country, but we're going to give you a newer story. At least, I mean, they kind of sugarcoated in Donkey Kong Land 1. I mean, at least they tried, I feel like. Like, if you're going to create a sub-series for Donkey Kong Country, at least give a damn. Like, at least give the players new levels that they have to come to this game for, okay? They can't just play it on the console and be like, this is just better, okay? Matter of fact, you're actually okay / better off skipping these games than giving them a shot anyways. If you played Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3, skip these. You literally can just skip these. You don't even have to experience these unless you absolutely want to and you're absolutely bored with Donkey Kong not having a new Donkey Kong Country game in 9 years. I get it, because it's kind of like if you play Donkey Kong Land games, it kind of just makes you want to play DKC games. And with the copy and paste stuff going on, it's kind of like yeah, exactly. I remember it did drag out for me. That's why when I played Donkey Kong Land 3, I just wasn't having it. I didn't even play the bitch because I knew exactly where it was coming from. I knew exactly how this experience was going to be. You know, and that's not good. Okay? Why do you think when Super Mario Brothers 3, instead of making, like, that's like Mario coming out and saying Super Mario Land 3, but in reality it's just Super Mario Bros. 3, but on lesser hardware than the Game Boy Advance, on Game Boy Color. Stop it. Why do you think they did not do that for Mario? Seriously, no, why? No, seriously. Why do you think they didn't do that shit with Mario? Of course they do that shit with Donkey Kong. Like, think about that. Of course they would do that shit with Donkey Kong. Like, of course they would do that with Donkey Kong, but they're not going to do that with, like, fucking Mario and shit, because Mario is their greatest IP, and don't get me wrong, I love Mario, but it's like, dude, if they didn't do that with Mario, why the fuck are they doing that to my boy Donkey Kong? Because it's Donkey Kong and he's different. It's like, nigga, fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, my God. It's Super Luigi, which, you know what, we're actually going to be talking about Luigi, and I think, hold on, give it like 2 weeks, like after 2 more videos, we are going to talk about Luigi's Mansion 3. Don't worry, I got notes for that all prepped up and shit. I have been, like, waiting for Luigi's Mansion 3 for a while, but, you know, Donkey Kong Country 3 is first, then Pac-Man World, and then Luigi's Mansion 3, and then after that is Crash Bandicoot stuff, and all this other shit, and Sonic in there, and Crash and Sonic are going to take a little spin at it for a bit, and, you know, Mario will be back, Wario's coming back, I'll talk about Wario again, you know, and all that other sort of shit, but we'll get there when we get there, okay? Just, I want to take my time with this series, and, by the way, we're almost at 50 My Experience episodes, literally. Donkey Kong Country 3 is going to be my 50th My Experience video in the entire shit. This is like the longest running series I have on my channel. Like, quite literally the longest running series now. Like, 50 videos. 50 videos. 50 videos. / episodes of My Experience. Think about that real quick. Right now it's 49. Alright, but think about that real quick. 49 episodes of 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of me talking about said shit. You know how long it's going to take you to finish the My Experience series if you watch them all? Like, if you generally watch them all, that shit might take you a fucking years of time just to finish that shit, which is why I don't recommend watching all of them in order from the first video I did all the way down. And also another thing about this series I like is it doesn't matter which episode you start on. That's why I don't also add in the title episode 50, episode 60, 70, 80, whatever episode that I did, whatever episode this is, because in my opinion, I feel like with this series, you can start from any video being the first episode of the My Experience series. Nothing's changing other than the game I'm discussing about, which is also awesome because that means I get you guys on board with what I'm talking about in the video, and that's for the video, and the next episode is completely different. Which is a good and bad thing depending on what type of viewer you are. Why am I noticing this shit now? Like, Alex, stop getting signs like of this fucking shit. But Rare, seriously, Rare, I respect you, for what you did. You managed to port Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy, even though later you would put these games out again on the Game Boy Advance, which, again, makes no sense. I know I'm repeating myself a lot in this episode. I'm just mind blown that that's what they decided to do. You know what? Why don't you just put Donkey Kong Land on fucking... Why don't you just... You know what? Okay, I have an idea for y'all. If you are gonna make... How about this? We're gonna add a little bit of the video. If you were gonna make Donkey Kong Land 4, which I know you're never doing because you're owned by Microsoft now. You can't touch Nintendo IPs once you're owned by Microsoft. If someone was able to make, if they enjoyed the Donkey Kong Land experience so much, and they wanted to make Donkey Kong Land 4, I bet you they'll just rip Donkey Kong Country Returns and call it Donkey Kong Land 4 and put it on literally lesser hardware. They'll put that bitch on the 3DS. They'll put that bitch on the 3DS. They won't even put that bitch on the Switch. They'll literally put that shit on 3DS. And call it a brand new game and say Donkey Kong Land 4. That's literally what Donkey Kong Land series in a nutshell is. It's literally the same 3 games you played, ported to the Game Boy, and we're just going to call it a brand new name. It's literally exactly like Sonic Unleashed on Wii, even though Sonic Unleashed Wii is completely different from Sonic Unleashed on the PS3 and Xbox 360. That's literally what I'm dealing with here. In a way, like when we hit Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3. That's how exactly my experience with those felt on that shit. But also, My Experience is a test to see if, like, how many times my video views will drop as well, because I know it's going to, since, I don't know why they decided to drop now all of a sudden. Renee, don't you think that's a little weird? I think that's a little sus, bro. That now they kind of want to do that to me. A little bit, because it happened with my Champions Road video like 3 times. I don't know what your thoughts on that is, but, well, that means I'm going to be uploading a lot less shit. But, okay, I'm going to tell you about the theory now. So, you know how you Master Arekkusu, sorry if I butchered that, pretty much emphasize him out of, himself out of Terra? What if Lingering Will was Arekkusu's spirit? The fuck? My theory is that shit. That'd be crazy, actually. That is sus as fuck, actually. Yeah, that's very sus. That's what I'm saying. Like, hold on. Okay, let me give you the story, okay? So, for months, Renee knows this, my video views, like, once they go up, 150 views, whatever, that's what they get. For months. And I'm telling you, I dealt with YouTube dealing with this for me for years. And what I mean by this is, I upload a video, 2-3 times in the week, and view drops. And then it goes back up and shit. Right? And that's how my videos were for years. That's how it was. I upload 2-3 times out of the week. That one video drops. I gotta go check on it, see what I can do. And literally, that's how it was. For years, how it was. And then the view drops would fluctuate. Sometimes it'd be 1 view drop a week. Sometimes it was 3 view drops in the next few days of the week of that said video. And that's what's happening to my Champions Row video. It's kind of going back to what it was before. And literally for months this year, I can't remember when it started, but let's say the past 3, 4, 5-ish months of this channel, I would upload a video, get its views, it would never view drop again until the end of time. And for that month onward, I was literally, like, not having to worry about my video each week was very nice, because that means I could upload it and not have to give a fuck about it until next week till I need to do the next video. So I wouldn't even have to go look back at the video and make sure I have to check 3 times a week for it. But now suddenly, after this long high of me like not having to worry about my videos, now I have to worry about them again because YouTube dropped my Champions Road video views, even though it has good watch time, it has a good amount of likes, it has a good amount of comments. I don't understand that, like, at all, actually. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of sus that they're pulling this shit from me and now, which is why I am prepared for it. But I'm just kind of like, why suddenly switch? Did I piss you off or something? But I digress. Okay. Alright, let me turn off Switch right now because I'm gonna get rid of this. By the way, I was on here on Switch again because, you know, I need to make sure to check if my stream's quality is okay and shit. You know. Like I said, the music for Donkey Kong Land is good. It's genuinely good when it really wants to be, you know. But I want, and another thing is, I want the Donkey Kong Land music to be good on its own merits for different reasons. Instead of just copy-pasting Donkey Kong Country's music, I wanted Donkey Kong Land's music to be completely different. I wanted it to be different. I wanted to have its own vibe. And that's another thing. That's the sad truth. You don't see anyone talk about Donkey Kong Land. I mean, you'll see like reviews from 7, 8 years ago, but you won't see anyone talk about it, bring it up nowadays. You know what I mean? I mean, I know people already talked about it. It ran its course, but it's like, why are these games not universally remembered as Donkey Kong Country? It's because they ripped what they made Donkey Kong Country good for the most part, at least for the next 2 games, and called it a day. And plus, Donkey Kong Country is the main series. Donkey Kong Land is just a side series that was supposed to be like a little mini thing, not supposed to be a big thing like Donkey Kong Country. Like, why people remember Donkey Kong Country? Graphics, sound, music, the way the gameplay was unique at the time. And Donkey Kong Land almost has nothing of originality of it. If you think about it, it actually really almost has nothing. Like, put all 3 games together, what does Donkey Kong Land have different other than being on a handheld? The music is 8-bit. The graphics are worse than the SNES counterpart. Or, well, what it has good going for it is, you know, the sky level and construction site level from DK Land 1. You know, like, the music is ripped. Like, what does it really have original going on for it other than what I just mentioned? Like, it being on Game Boy, I guess. It not having color, I guess. I don't know what it really has that's completely unique to this series other than the sky levels, construction sites. One difference is, like, the level layout isn't exactly the same as the Donkey Kong Country games, which is, that's actually good. But, you know, if you're still calling it the same level and it still gives you the same vibe as said level that you just played, it's kind of like, it doesn't help you, man. And I honestly wish that Donkey Kong Land was better than it was, but it ended up being a very samey experience. My samey experience with the Donkey Kong Land series, Trilogy. I'm sad because of that, because I really wanted Donkey Kong Land to be legit different, legit its own thing, and not just copying off of what Big Brother did for success and try to mimic that. I know the first game tried its best to like hide the fact that it was kind of like a port of Donkey Kong Country in a way, but I just wish the other two games didn't make it blatantly obvious. I wish my experience with Donkey Kong Land was different. At least Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3. I wish I genuinely loved the fuck out of these games. But you know what? I like them, at least they're playable. At least they're not Sonic Blast on a weaker Sega console, okay? Like, I'm gonna be honest. At least they copied a game that is good. They didn't copy a shit game, and they didn't do a shit job at copying it. But why should you be giving it praise for copying something that's really good? That's like complimenting every Super Mario Brothers clone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just... That's why you just can't... I just can't, like, confidently say, like, oh, you know what? I'm glad I copied a good game. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth. But anyways, I'm not going to drag this out any longer. I'm sorry. It's just, these are my honest feels. That's my experience with Donkey Kong Land. I hope you guys come back next week for Donkey Kong Country 3. The final, not the final game of the Donkey Kong Country series, but out of the original trilogy, yes, the final game in the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy. Hope you come back next week for that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hopefully YouTube will defog this video too much. Maybe, I guess. Yeah, and I'll catch you guys next time. Hope you guys somewhat enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoyed me feeling this way, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry. Look, we'll be in a way better mood next week, okay? We'll be in a better mood. Because Donkey Kong Country 3 is actually, well, it's not as good as Donkey Kong Country 2. I mean, that's kind of obvious. I mean, who the fuck talks about Donkey Kong Country 3 when Donkey Kong Country's brought up? Like, literally, every game other than Donkey Kong Country 3 and maybe Donkey Kong Returns, like, those two are, like, the least liked. And Donkey Kong Country Returns is because of motion control, even though I kind of say that's, like, a bitch reason why to dislike it, at least, but, which I will talk about Returns one day, you know, if I ever get a Wii again, all that other sort of shit. But anyways, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out. Nah, bro, you're fine. You're just keeping it, your thoughts 100%. You right. You right, Renee. You right. You right. I mean, shit. Okay, let me put this song one more time. Let me put this song one more time before I go. Before I go, let me put this song on before I go. Okay, I'm gonna put this song on before I go. And favorite arc in each of the big three. I don't even fuck with, I mean, I like anime. I do. Ish. Nowadays, I like it a lot less than I did before. But my favorite arc, I don't know. I don't have like a favorite arc in the big three, especially anymore. I don't feel like I did watch One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto all the way through, all three of them. But I don't know. I really don't know. In this day and age, I really don't know like what arc is my personal favorite. I would have to probably rewatch them again to kind of get that grasp what was my favorite, you know. To be straight up honest with you, Slade, but y'all know I had to play Sticker Bush Symphony, the 8-bit version. Let's go. Do 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 do. Nigga wing in this bed, you know what? I damn do, that's okay. Because Donkey Kong Country Game 3 is the next game that I will be on about, and that game is pretty damn good. All y'all know, sure, I don't even know, but I decided to rhyme with this shit. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck. I decided to run to this shit. Man, fuck this! I gotta put on the original version, bro. I don't give a shit about Avengers movie. You know what the fate, Donkey Country 2 is the best in the series. You know that shit is so true because it is the fucking best in the shit. Hey yo, what the fuck? I don't know that shit. Donkey Country 2 is the shit compared to DK Land 2. That shit is so ass. But sticker, but symphony in that game is super damn good. It's an 8-bit version of that shit. I love the shit out of DKC. All y'all nigglings should know that shit well. DK has become one of my damn faves. Y'all know DK's the best nigga of that shit. Nigga wings are gone. Bang, you know too much. DKC too slick, and all y'all should know. That's it. Okay. Oh, I can't wait till we talk about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Yo, that is going to be really lit. Anyways, I better get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm talking about Donkey Kong Country over here, just going off the rip. Oh, man, I really want to talk about Donkey Kong Country again now because of that. Because these Donkey Kong Land games, yo, sorry, but after the first one, this shit mediocre as fuck. Anyways, I'm out. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.